It's so disheartening. You'd think the cleaners would water my cactus.
Well, look at my azalea. When I came back from holiday, I practically had to give it artificial respiration. Withered it was.
Really?
By the way, what are they doing about your carpet?
Well, I'm not actually entitled to one until my next increment.
Rubbish. Do a memo to House Superintendent. Copy to me. I'll write something vitriolic on the bottom.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Pritchard.
It's your 10 o'clock appointment, Mr. Pritchard.
Well, if it's 10 o'clock, I'll see him.
What about curtains?
Oh, you'll never get curtains. Dark glasses, possibly. Curtains, never.
You're so silly.
I know.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, I do know you are a very busy man, so I won't waste your time. It shouldn't take long to get this business sorted out. Fortunately, I am a fairly methodical chap. It's just a matter of finding your letter, and then we can get down to brass tacks. Very, very funny. I know I had it when I left home, because I came out without it and I had to go back for it. Here it is. Now then, sir, what are you going to do about this?
About this?
Precisely.
Nothing.
Nothing?
Precisely. According to this, your shoes have been repaired and await collection.
Well, that's very odd.
Indeed.
Yeah, I only took them in yesterday. It must be another pair.
Mr. Worth. You are Mr. Worth, aren't you?
Yes, how did you know?
I got you down in my diary.
Have you really? What ads?
Mr. Worth, why don't you sit down and then tell me why you're here?
Yes, certainly. Now, you sent me a letter.
I sent a lot of letters to a lot of people.
Well, you only sent one to me. If you remember, it's the one I can't find.
Nevertheless, can you recall the general terms in which the letter was couched?
Yeah, well, I can remember part of it. I know it started, Dear Sir.
Yes, it would. And later on, I think it said, yours faithfully?
It did, yes.
Now, can we please come to the part in between?
That's the part I can't remember.
I shall now try and find your file.
Perhaps I can help you. Have you any idea at all where you've lost it?
We don't lose files in the Inland Revenue, Mr. Worth. But since you can't quote your reference number, I shall have to look it up in the alphabetical index. What is the initial?
W.
W.
As in wholesale.
Funny?
Look, if it does help in any way, my first name is Harry. Is that all mine?
Volume 1. So you are Harry Worth.
Yes, yes.
It's been one of my cherished ambitions to meet you.
Has it really? Do you know, they say it's a small world, and yet I only live round the corner.
May I read you a copy of the letter you seem so conveniently to have misplaced?
What a good idea. Then I can tell if it differs from the one you sent me.
Dear Sir.
That's the one.
Despite long and protracted correspondence with this office, you have consistently failed to make a return of your income, as a result of which it has been impossible to assess your tax liability. We demand an immediate remedy for this flagrant neglect and must advise you that failure to respond by return of post will lead to legal proceedings.
Yours faithfully?
Yours faithfully.
Now, Mr. Pritchard, you don't deny sending me that letter.
On the contrary, I was ready to sign it with my life's blood.
Mm-hmm. So you understand why I had to come round here and get you to apologize.
I apologize.
Fair enough. I'm quite willing to take the whole matter. I have said my piece. I hope there are no hard feelings. Perhaps you'll write to me again sometime.
You're not thinking of leaving?
I'm afraid I have to. You see, I've got to pick up a pair of shoes at the repairer's.
Sit down.
Much as I would love to sit down.
Sit down. You see this form?
Yes, I do believe... Yes, you did send me one of those.
We've sent you dozens, but unfortunately you never sent one back.
I thought you were trying to get rid of them.
However, we're going to fill this one in.
Oh, are we? With what in mind?
So that we can state your income, calculate your allowances, take one from the other, and assess your tax.
Ah, I see. And when we've done all that, where will it get us?
It will tell us how much tax you have to pay.
Ah, well, now, we ought to stop and think a minute. You see, between you and I hadn't planned on paying any.
You haven't any choice.
Well, I haven't paid any up to now.
That's because you've never filled in one of these forms.
You see what I mean?
Mr. Worth, don't you understand? You have got to declare your income and you have got to pay income tax.
Look, I'm sure you'll forgive me for asking, but why?
What do you mean, why?
Well, why do I have to pay income tax?
But everybody who earns over a certain amount has to pay income tax.
Oh, yes, quite. Well, I take your point, but why?
Because it's a tax on their income.
I'm sorry, I just don't see the advantage of paying it.
I didn't say there was any advantage.
But why bother paying it?
Look, even I have to pay income tax.
Oh. Ah, did you fill a form in?
Of course I filled a form in.
There you are, then.
Look, Mr. Worth, will you please try to get it into your head that you're going to pay us some money?
All right, I'm going to pay you some money. Now, tell me, what am I getting for it?
Well, to start with, there's the army.
When do I use the army?
You don't. But apart from everything else, we're still paying for the last war.
No, I'm not having that. I distinctly remember we won.
Will you please excuse me for one moment?
Yes, I'll... look, is it something I've said?
Oh, Mr. Pritchard, you see what I've done? I've changed the desk and the chair to that side, so that when I put my carpet across here, it'll give the whole room a feeling of depth.
Good. Holmes, why do we pay income tax?
Then I thought I'd take the 2 large ashtrays and, I beg your pardon, sir?
Income tax. Why do we pay it?
Why do we pay income tax?
Yes.
Well, it's an economic requirement of the Constitution.
No, that's no good. I've been through all that. I've got to have a better reason. It's this chap in my office. I can't seem to get it through to him that he's got to pay it.
Well, sir, it's the collector's job to make him pay it.
Collector? Oh, the collector. Thank you, Coombs. Thank you. You've moved your desk.
Yes, sir. It's for when I get my carpet. You see, I thought it would be better if the carpet went there.
Yes,
the desk...
Well, later. I must get rid of this chap.
Yes, sir.
I see you're a bit of a gardener.
Yes, I'm also a bit of an income tax inspector, and I intend to prove it. Will you please sit down?
Certainly.
Now, what I'm going to say to you may seem slightly absurd, but I ask you to believe that it's true.
Well, I shall hang on to your every word.
Now, whether you pay your income tax or not is no direct concern of mine.
No, I see, yes.
That is the business of the tax collector. I inspect, he collects.
Yes, I see.
So if you don't intend to pay your tax, your argument is with him and not with me.
Splendid. Where's his office? I'll go and see him right away.
No, you won't.
Oh, won't I?
He can't take steps to collect until I've assessed what you're liable for.
Oh, I see. Until you work out on what I don't intend to pay, he won't know how much he's not going to get.
If you must put it that way.
It seems a funny way of carrying on. But if it's your job, we'd better do it.
Right. Now, we'll begin by working out the gross earnings from your employment. What was your situation on the 6th of April last year?
Oh, desperate.
Possibly, but what was your regular job?
Looking for work. Mind you, I did achieve my objective.
How?
I didn't find any.
Have you done any work since?
Well, now and then.
Doing what?
This and that.
Where and when?
Here and there, on and off. Does that answer your question, more or less?
By and large. Now, Mr. Worth, listen to me. Most people make a note of all the money they receive, perhaps in the back of their diary or in a little notebook, and they also write down everything they spend, just to give them a vague idea of how they stand.
Yes.
Now, I don't suppose you've ever done anything like that, have you?
Oh, dear me. That sounds dreadful because there's no system at all.
Well, have you ever done anything like that?
Oh, good heavens, no. I like to know exactly where I'm up to. That's why I keep a careful record of every penny that comes in and goes out.
You don't mean to say you keep records?
You could almost say it's my hobby. Could I show you some of my work?
My dear Mr. Worth, a few simple jottings would absolutely make my day.
Really? Have a fortnight on me.
But these are soap coupons.
Oh, yes, I should explain. I use the double entry system. You see, they are deducted from the outgoings in the expenditure folder and transferred back to income, so that when I redeem them, they'll be shown as a cash transaction and won't appear on the wrong side of the profit and loss account.
But it's a soap coupon.
It's worth threepence.
But one can't put soap coupons through one's accounts.
I do. I'd get very confused if I didn't. It's the same with green stamps on the top of cornflake packets.
What's this?
Ah, yes, that's an IOU.
But it says I owe you £5 and it's signed Harry Worth.
Yes, that means I owe £5.
But if you owe £5, why have you got the IOU?
Because I borrowed it off myself. You can do that with this system.
You can?
Yes, could I come round and show you some more of my work? Now, before I go any further, I should explain, for the purposes of these accounts, I am two different people. Now, if we look under expenditure, we shall see that on July the 12th, I drew out of the Post Office Savings Bank £5. Now, the first Harry Worth gives the £5 to the second Harry Worth and gets an IOU in exchange. The second Harry Worth buys £5 worth of premium bonds, which is then entered under drawings. But because it becomes income, he gives the premiums bonds back to the first Harry Worth and gets his IOU back. Now, this means that Harry Worth has spent £5, borrowed £5, paid £5, and still has £5 worth of premium bonds. Can I show you another example?
No! Please. Mr. Worth.
Yes?
May I give you a tip about your accounts?
Oh, well, please do, because one can always learn something.
Well, now, how can I put this? There are people who give professional advice on these matters.
Ah, accountants.
Well, since you mention it, yes. Now, if you decided to employ one, he could certainly sort out your affairs, and he could deal with me on your behalf.
Ah, I see. You suggest I get an accountant.
No. I'm not empowered to suggest any such thing. It would be unethical.
It's a good thing you told me. I was just going to dash out and get one.
I'd like you to get one, but I mustn't suggest it.
I thought you just did.
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, I wonder where I got the idea from.
Well, let's just say the idea came to you while we were talking.
Yes, let's just say that, shall we? Mr. Pritchard, have you any idea at all where I can find one of these accountants?
Oh, you don't have to trouble about that, Mr. Worth. You'll find heaps outside.
Oh, I see. Heaps. Are you sure you can recommend him?
Ethics, Mr. Worth.
Yes, indeed. Where would we be without them?
Lucky you can say that again. Look, if Lester Pickett had had a wart on his nose, we'd have been 400 quid up the spout. Look, Sammy, I better ring off now, yeah. I promised the governor I'd check figures with him now we got a free day. See you, Kempton, on Friday. Cheers, Sammy. Morning, what can I do for you?
Well, I'd like to see Mr. Boothroyd, please.
What about?
Well, actually, it's a private matter.
Like private?
Well, it's to do with income tax, you see.
You from the tax office?
Well, as a matter of fact, I am, but the inspector was rather anxious you wouldn't get the idea. He'd asked me to come.
And you want to see the governor?
Please.
Yeah, will you wait here? I'll see if he's in.
Trouble?
Yeah, I think so. It's a bloke from the Inland Revenue.
You've got to be joking.
No, he's in the outer office.
Who's Welsh on us? Who's put the boot in?
Nobody'd do that, Gov. You're too straight.
This is nasty. They can take you back 6 years, you know. I have nightmares when I think about what they can find in those books if they look close enough.
You gonna see him?
I've no choice. Does he look as if he'll bend?
Here, hold on. It's a bit dangerous, isn't it?
Well, what can I lose? Once these tax swallows get the ropes into you, never let go.
Well, you want a boxer a bit clever if you're going to try slipping in the dropsy, aren't you?
Well, you better show him in. We'll see which way the wind blows.
In here, you.
Mr. Boothroyd.
That's right, yeah.
My name is Harry Worth.
Very pleased to meet you, Mr. Worth. Please sit down.
Ah, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed.
Scotch?
No, but my grandfather was.
Yes, I was wondering if you felt like a drop of the heart still.
You know, I never felt better in my life. I hope I haven't caught you at a busy time.
Busy? Oh, that's a laugh. We've had a terrible year.
Oh, I am sorry.
There isn't the money about, you know.
Oh, so I've noticed. Do you think they've had a strike at the Mint?
Oh, yes, very droll. I like that. I was trotting it out for some of the boys.
Well, the beauty of it is, of course, you can tell it in mixed company. Perhaps I could get round to what I've called to see you about. It's this business of income tax.
Oh, yes. No trouble, I hope.
Well, I'm afraid there is, you see. The inspector's not too happy about the accounts.
Oh, isn't he? What's making him sad?
Well, it's the earnings, chiefly. He's making an awful fuss. I hoped you might be able to help me. I brought all the papers with me, so it shouldn't...
Not so fast, Mr. Worth. You don't have to rush at it like a bull at a gate.
Don't I?
Oh, there's plenty of time. I mean, is there any reason why we shouldn't sit here for 5 minutes and have a friendly chat?
Not at all. I'd enjoy it. Shall I sort of start us off?
Yes, go ahead.
I see there's been a big outcry against them putting fluoride in the water.
That's so.
Well, people are saying, you know, that you can't make a good cup of tea anymore. My next-door neighbour made a rather amusing comment the other morning. He said, I've heard of the tea set, but if they put much more of this stuff in the water, it will.
Are you married?
I beg your pardon.
Have you got a wife and family?
No, well, not as yet. I've toyed with the idea.
Quite an expensive business, getting married.
Yes. They say it doesn't do your teeth any good.
What doesn't?
The fluoride in the water.
Oh, I'd always thought the opposite. Do you ever feel like going abroad?
No, but I've written to the town council about it.
You mean the fluoride?
Yes.
I was thinking about the cost of emigrating.
No good writing to the town council about that. They wouldn't even send a man round when I thought it was the drainage.
But it was the fluoride.
In the water. Would you like to talk about something else?
I've been trying to.
But perhaps I could get round to the purpose of my visit. If I could just go through these accounts with you, it would...
Mr. Worth, odd as it may seem, I have never gambled a penny in my life.
Well, isn't that amazing? Do you know? Neither have I. Do you think there are many of us left?
However, there are occasions when I've got to chance my arm. Now, I am willing to bet you £500. There's nothing wrong with those accounts.
Oh, Mr. Boothroyd, you mustn't do it. You would lose your money.
Doesn't matter, I just want to have a bet with you. Now, bet you £500 there's nothing wrong with those accounts.
Mr. Boothroyd, you just don't seem to understand. The income tax inspector was very definite. He won't pass these accounts as they are.
Okay, so you've won your bet. The money's yours.
Mr. Boothroyd, I could not accept your £500.
Why not? It was a fair bet. Mind you, if you manage to get those accounts past the inspector, it will be fairer still. You see my meaning?
If you want the absolute truth, I'm entirely in agreement with... There is nothing wrong with those accounts at all. I think the inspector's just trying to be difficult.
That's more like it. You're a smart man, Mr. Worth.
Do you know, Mr. Boothroyd, you have given me new heart. There are far too many people in this world trying to push one around. Sooner or later, you've got to stand up on your own 2 feet and say, that is enough.
You're so right. Mr. Worth, I'm going to give you my private telephone number, and I would like you to ring me as soon as you clear things with the inspector.
Mr. Boothroyd, you will be the first to know, and thank you for having such faith in me. Well, goodbye, Mr. Boothroyd. Oh, I beg your pardon. Entirely slipped my mind. I'm sorry. What about your fee?
Fee? Oh, yes, you mustn't go without that, must you?
I couldn't. possibly walk out of here with that.
Gosh, you can. Just be careful, that's all.
But Mr. Boothroyd...
No, let's not waste time. You've got a job to do, haven't you? Go and do it.
You fixed him, then?
Haven't I always told you, James? Everybody's got the price.
You'll never cease to amaze me, Mr. Boothroyd.
Incidentally, you'll never guess. I've just found out what's wrong with the tea. Did you know there was fluoride in the water?
About here, then.
That's right. Now, you do get my point, don't you? If you lay your carpet up and down here, you put your small table with the ashtray on it there, your filing cabinets along that wall, and you've got all this space to walk up and down while you're thinking.
Yes. I like it. I do like it, Mr. Pritchard. It's a great improvement.
Excuse me, Mr. Pritchard. That gentleman's come back.
I don't believe it. Not twice in one morning.
He said he's been where you told him to go.
Yes, I could make another very good suggestion. Mr. Lamont, you better bring him in. Holmes, if you hear a loud cry, for Pete's sake, dash in quickly and drag me off it.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Pritchard, you'll be delighted to know I've seen my accountant, and he assures me my accounts are in order.
Right. Well, you better let me see them.
Certainly. Now, they've all been carefully labelled. Incomings, outgoings, pending, and still pending.
But I've seen all this. Where are the accountant's figures?
Oh, he didn't give me any.
But he must have given you something.
No, he didn't give me any. I beg your pardon. Yes, he gave me £500.
Gave you £500.
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it?
It is ridiculous. Which accountant did you go to?
Mr. Boothroyd.
Boothroyd. I don't think I know him.
Ah, you'd like him. Friendly sort. Wonderful conversationalist. We had an interesting chat about emigration and what they're putting in the water.
What did he say about the soap coupon?
He didn't say anything about the soap coupons.
Nothing at all.
Well, in actual fact, he didn't see them.
Well, I don't see how he could avoid seeing them. They're all over your accounts.
Ah, but there is an explanation for that. He didn't see the accounts either.
He didn't see the accounts. He tells you to come round here and tell me that they're all in order.
Yes, Mr. Pritchard, you are the expert. Tell me, how does he do it?
I can't wait to find out. Get him on the phone now. Ask him if he'll be kind enough to come round and see me and explain his extraordinary conduct. I want to meet your Mr. Boothroyd. I intend to find out what his game is. Holmes, you're never going to believe this.
Mr. Boothroyd?
Yes?
This is Harry Worth. I'm at the tax office.
That was quick work. Everything fixed?
No, not really. The inspector would like to see you.
What for?
Well, he seems a little dissatisfied with the accounts. He seemed to get a little bit upset about the soap coupons.
Soap coupon? What soap coupon?
The ones I enter on the debit side as income to show us credit. It's all quite legitimate.
Well, what you're messing about with soap coupons for? You don't have to touch the accounts. Just get them agreed.
Mr. Boothroyd, you just don't seem to understand. The inspector wants to know what your game is. He suddenly turned rather nasty.
Oh, well, that's it then. He's obviously sitting there with all the aces.
Well, the point is, can you come round?
Looks as if I've no choice. Look, meet me on the steps of the tax office in 10 minutes, will you?
Doesn't sound too rosy, Gov.
Ah, well, you can't win them all. Come and say ta-ta to a small fortune.
There's no use getting all upset, Holmes. If establishment says you can't have your carpet, you can't have your carpet.
Well, I'll give my cactus to Pauline and take down my picture of Mr. Callahan.
Tut, tut, that's anarchy. Now, Holmes, what you need is something to take your mind off it, and I've got the very thing. Come through here a moment, will you? I've been wrestling with these accounts all morning. If you can make head or tail out of this lot, you can have a carpet. I'll willingly give you mine.
Mr. Pritchard, he's back again. And what's more, he's brought reinforcements.
Holmes, go to it. This could be your finest hour.
This way, gentlemen.
Ah, thank you. Mr. Pritchard, now, before we go any further, Mr. Boothroyd wishes it to be placed on record that he has handed over to me this case.
Well, that's very generous of him. These personal gifts are most touching, but how does it help us?
Well, he assures me what we will find inside here will give the answer to all our difficulties.
Oh, we shall see. Mr. Boothroyd, perhaps you'd care to qualify your somewhat remarkable statement that the accounts are in order.
Well, to be quite truthful, Mr. Pritchard, I'm not sure that they are in order. I might have made a slight error of judgment. When Mr. Worth came to see me, I was confused and distressed.
Yes, I can quite understand. He's been in and out here all morning.
It's been a most unfortunate misunderstanding, and I don't mind telling you I've been going out of my mind over it.
Say no more, Mr. Boothroyd. If you and I can agree that these accounts are not acceptable, we can sort Mr. Worth out in no time at all.
One moment, is this ethical?
Is what ethical?
Well, after all, he's my accountant. What is he doing on your side?
Oh, you needn't be afraid of any disloyalty, Mr. Worth. Mr. Boothroyd and I share the same code of honor.
Oh, I am glad. Mr. Boothroyd, why have you changed your mind? After all, be honest, you haven't even seen my accounts.
Your account?
Yes, the ones I brought to you in your office this morning. You told me I would find the answer in here.
Is there somewhere I can go and lie down? I don't think I feel very
Don't pass out on me now, Mr. Boothroyd. There's a small fortune in here. I just don't understand it.
Well, I do. You've got the man into a terrible state of confusion. You shouldn't have let him bring all that money here.
I didn't even want the £500 he gave me in the first place.
Well, give it back to him. All of it. Mr. Boothroyd, you didn't know what you were doing. You've been under terrible stress. Of course, I understand you thought it was worth it. Just to see the back of him.
That's quite right, Mr. Boothroyd. I couldn't accept it. It would be unethical.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, does anybody mind if I go?
Oh, no. Go at once while you still retain a little of your sanity. Take a little holiday. We at Worthing will do you all the good in the world.
You're very kind. I shan't forget this.
Try. I beg of you.
It's very, very sad. Well, goodbye, Mr. Pritchard.
Doesn't this make you feel ashamed?
Well, it does, Rod. I had no idea accountants were so charitable.
Mr. Pritchard, I do believe I've cracked it.
Cracked what?
Mr. Worth's accounts. It's really quite simple once you see what he's done. If you read his debits as credits and then take the soap coupons from the IOUs, then the accounts are perfectly in order.
Do you mean to say you've made sense out of this lot?
Oh, yes. I've done an analysis. These are his earnings, those are his allowances, and the tax due is £13 6 shillings.
Are you trying to tell me that I owe you £13 6 shillings?
Well, that's what it seems to boil down to, Mr. Worth.
That's assuming there's no allowance for travelling expenses.
Ah, but there is. You see, I travel by bus, and it's tenpence return daily. So that's 365 times tenpence return, which is...
£15 4 shillings.
I'll take your word for it now. If we take the £13 6 shillings from the £15 4 shillings expenses, that should leave...
£1 18 shillings.
And a very useful sum. Just one question before I go.
What's that?
Could I have the money now?